Look Outreach is underwritten by the generous support of Munter Enterprises. Family owned and operated since 1972, integrity is important, as our family name is on every project. Our word is our bond. Munter Enterprises. Just build it.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome John Strough back, Supervisor, Queensbury. This is part 3 of my interview with him regarding the Watershed Coalition, the history of it, the process, and answer some questions, John, about the things that we're getting every day here at Look Media regarding what's behind the curtain on a lot of these things. Now, in part 2, we left off that the state had noted in the review process that there were some discrepancies that they couldn't answer and they needed help. And it became apparent to you that maybe Queensbury could play a larger role in it, helping to administer some of this process. So you made a recommendation. You made a recommendation that as part of the grant process that the town of Queensbury could hire an administrator to help. And
for the first time, the Department of State Grants would allocate a certain percentage of the grant towards that administration.
Yeah, got it.
So, so the town now could hire their own administrator and it would be paid for, at least in part.
It would be a tax burden to the
right.
Right.
So that all got approved. And so, and I communicate regularly with the town board about the issues and how we should move forward. And I explain to them that now we have money from the grant that will pay for a grant administrator. And then we talked about who would be good for that. And Kathy Bozzoni came up as a person that really loves Lake George. She's a good administrator. She's a person that gets things done. And we all know her that way. So it was unanimous in our support for Kathy Bozzoni to administer future grants and to help us with other environmental issues, because we're working with the North Queensbury Wastewater Disposal District, which is an organization, and the Lake Sunnyside would like to form a disposal district. Glen Lake has some environmental issues, and I certainly would like a little bit of help in helping solve some of these environmental problems. So we formed a contract. It was approved by the town board in the format of a resolution and was passed unanimously. So we hired Kathy Bozzoni, and one of the first jobs we gave her to do was this new grant that had been proposed and approved by the town board.
This was the master plan grant?
Yeah, well, this is a C1 000678. When I came into office in 2014, I didn't know much about grants, and I still don't know much about grants, but I knew more than I did then. So we decided that she would begin administering that grant from day one. Now, Dave Decker could still work as project manager. And so, and some of the Village of Lake George and the town of Bolton, they were thinking about doing the same thing. And then keeping Dave Decker as a project manager and keeping him focused on that. And each individual municipality would have some entity help them to administer the grants and take that burden off of Dave Decker.
And it's also it's a nice layer of watchdog, if you know what I mean also.
Yeah.
It's nice to have someone who actually answers directly to the town board about some of these things, even though the major responsibility here is Decker and the state in terms of this grant writing and the process. And that's the way it was set up in 1999,
yes,
as we talked about.
And the way it had been for 17 years.
Right. So where do we stand now? This question's a little bit uncomfortable, but and I don't like the inference, which is why I'm really glad that you came on, which is that you were trying to hide something. I don't understand what you would be hiding.
I wasn't hiding anything. I mean, the town council reports that went to the town board that were responses to Dave Decker, responses to the Department of State, and we were saying, Dave, the Department of State isn't happy here. They gave us a review and they found fault with the way the payment request. Yes, take care of it.
Right.
Those documents were all shared with the town board. So in documentation form, The town board was well informed of what was going on. Not to mention, I would meet with members of the town board and explain to them the situation and so forth, what was going on with the Lake George Watershed Coalition. And like I said, a lot of good things were going on over the 17 years that Dave Decker did with the Lake George Watershed Coalition.
Right.
But it was time to have the town probably take its own role in administering these grants.
Well, you know what, I agree with you there, because the inference there about hiding something is lack of transparency, and I quite honestly don't see any lack of transparency here, which is about as far as I think I can go in saying that in this conversation. But there are formal conversations, there are informal conversations. We're a small community, and the fact that you put someone on staff, being paid for by the grant, to help watchdog this just seems to me to be the correct measures.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
And it was passed unanimously by the town board.
Right, I've got it.
So, I was trying to be proactive in seeing that there was a little bit of a problem in the way that we're managing things with the Lake George Watershed Coalition and try and come up with a better way of doing it.
Yes, yeah, I've got it. You can answer this last question pretty much any way you feel like it. I think I've known you for about 12 years now. And any of these things, when they start saying it's political, there's a personal aspect to this. And I hope you don't mind me asking you this. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but, I know you and I know your reputation. How does this sort of affect you personally?
Well, it didn't feel well that I was being accused of doing something that I did not do, that I was doing something wrong, that if I did something wrong, I'll face up with it, but I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay.
And I do a lot of work for the community, and I give a lot of donations to the community and good community things, and I think we live in a great community. And I work with the Boy Scouts, and and I spend 50 hours a week trying to do the job right and supervising the town.
Yeah.
So, it didn't set well when somebody's manufacturing something to try and make me look bad. I work very hard to gain a good reputation, and I don't want misinformation bringing me down. I don't think that's right.
I got it, John. All right, thank you very much for coming on and taking the time to discuss it in such depth. And again, the invitation goes out to anybody who feels that they can add to this conversation. You're welcome to come sit right over here and let us hear your point of view. But it was, I thought, critically important that we had John in to explain it in this kind of detail. So thanks again for coming in.
Oh, you're welcome.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.